Hey HK fans, James here with a Workbench Wednesday tip for you. Today I'd like to talk about how to install a rear diopter drum sight on your MP5 style weapon. Now, the reason for this is because I get a lot of questions from customers who are buying new SP5s, SP5Ks, or another pistol variant of the MP5 style weapon, and they're coming with the castle rear sight, as we call it, which is the pistol variant style. And the reason that is because when the MP5K was first designed and brought to the market, it didn't come with a stock. It just came with a pistol grip on the front, and it was designed to be used as a machine pistol, extended out and presented like a pistol would be. And so they used that more familiar pistol rear patridge style sight. But what happens, of course, is things have evolved, and it wasn't until the late 80s, early 90s that H&K released the MP5K Navy, and they added a folding stock on it, and at that point you could get it with the optional rear diopter drum that you see on the MP5 style weapons. So a lot of customers who are getting these weapons want to do that upgrade. And of course, the reason why they're coming like that is because for importation purposes, for H&K to bring them into the country and sell them as pistols, they're going to put a pistol style sight on them. And a lot of the US produced clones are doing the same thing. But once guys are putting a stock on the back of their weapon or one of those silly braces, they soon find that rear castle sight isn't near as capable as the rear diopter drum sight. They want to put it on there. So today we're going to flip over here to the workbench, and I'll show you a pretty simple way to do that install yourself. Okay, so in order to provide this little training tip, what I'm going to be using here is a training model for the rear sight assembly for an MP5 weapon, but this could obviously be done on any of the roller delayed weapons as well. You're going to need a punch of some sort. You're going to need your new rear diopter drum for the MP5 style weapon, and then you're going to need your sight adjustment tool. And this should have come with the weapon when you purchased it. If not, you can get this from a number of sources. But these are all the things that I find make the job very easy. So the first thing we want to do is we want to reference the rear sight itself. Okay, so obviously you've got the welded portion that's onto the receiver, and then you've got the actual rear sight itself, which contains the drum itself, which rotates. Okay, you've got a set screw at the top, and then you've got your windage screw on the right side. All we're going to be focusing with for this video is the drum itself and looking down on there. And what I want you to pay attention to here are these 4 openings. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the rear sight. 2 of them are empty. So if I look down in here and I look down in there, those 2 areas are empty. But what you'll see at the base of this and this one, you can see a little silver piece sticking in there. And what that is actually a spring-loaded bushing. There's one on either side, and those are what force out and allow it to stop at each one of these 4 rotation points. And there's kind of a ramped section at each one of these corners that allows you, as you put force on this to rotate it, it compresses those 2 bushings in under spring tension until they get to that next opening, and then they pop back out again. And that's what locks it at each one of these points as you rotate it. And a lot of people get confused. They think, oh, well, I'm going to make an elevation change, and they just start rotating the drum around. It actually doesn't change any elevation. All it's doing at this point when those bushings are in place is change your aperture size. So you have a smaller aperture and a larger aperture here at the rear. So I'll talk about how to change your elevation, your windage for zeroing your weapon on a different video, but at least you understand how that works. Okay, so the key here is if we want to rotate this drum freely, which is what we're going to need to do to actually get the castle rear sight off and replace it with our rear diopter drum, is I've got to compress those 2 spring-loaded bushings in. Okay, and the way we do that is with your sight adjustment tool. Okay, it's actually 2 pieces in one. Obviously this side's got a Phillips head screwdriver, which is used to adjust the set screw and the windage screw on the other side. But tucked in here in the back of it is a spring-loaded detent tool. What you'll see here are these two arms that are spring-loaded. Okay, and when I attach it to the other end with the Phillips head portion of it, what you'll notice with those arms is that they now move in. Okay, now they kind of look like Batman. But now they're straight. If I release it, now they go out. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with these arms is I'm trying to position them on the outside of those two bushings, and then they're going to capture it and force those bushings in just like that. Okay, so the way this works is you put your side adjustment tool on your screwdriver, you line it up so that they're going to be right over those two bushings. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put downward pressure here with my thumb and forefinger. Okay, and I'm going to release the back of the tool. And what's happened now are those two arms of the side adjustment tool portion are on the outside of those bushings. When I reinsert the Phillips head screwdriver portion of it and press down, what you're going to hear is a click. And now those arms of the side adjustment tool have compressed those two bushings, and I can put downward pressure now with my right hand, let go with my left hand, and I should be able to, as I am, rotate the drum freely. So it's not stopping at each one of those 4 points. It's now rotating completely off. And it's very key that I keep level pressure. If I let up at this point, those two spring-loaded detents could come detached, and then they'll come flying across the room. Okay, so I keep rotating lefty-loosey until it comes all the way off the sight base. Okay, now you can see it's completely free. Okay, and what you can see here, very carefully, that is one of the spring-loaded bushings right here. Okay, and as you see, I just let off enough pressure to let it off. I'm very going to very carefully release the tool off completely. Okay, now I can remove the castle drum. I won't need that anymore. Now, this is the important part. If you were not being careful and you release that pressure, you could very easily launch this spring-loaded bushing and it would go across the floor. So be very, very careful as you're doing that. You'll notice on the other side that it's captured from flying away because it's positioned up against this wing on the rear side base. Okay, so now that we have removed our rear castle drum, we can set it aside. We won't need it anymore. And we're going to pick up our rear diopter drum. And we're going to just start to rethread it going the opposite direction onto the sight base. And it should only rotate a couple of turns, and then it'll bottom out. And where it's bottoming out is on that actual bushing again. It's captured the top of it, hold it in place, but that detent portion that sticks out on either side is preventing it from going any further back. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on just this left side first and not worry about the right side. And we're going to use our punch, and you can see why I like this punch. Big handle allows me to use palm pressure, keep it from slipping as much, and I'm going to press in on that bushing at the same time as from the top. I then recapture that bushing with the arm of my side adjustment tool. So kind of hard to see for you guys, but follow along with me as you can. I'm going to set it, the side adjustment tool in position, and then from the bottom I'm going to come in and I'm going to press in on that bushing until I can capture it with the arm of the side adjustment tool. So I release, come back down one more time, make sure I've captured it, and I have. So now with downward pressure, what I need to do, because I've captured this left side, is I need to rotate the sight drum around 180 degrees or 2 clicks. So now I can capture the right side as well. Okay, so there's 1 click, there's 2 click, again, downward pressure to make sure I don't lose this other side. And now that exposes this other bushing. Press in on it while I press down on the sight tool. And now you heard it click into position on both ends. And what I should be able to do at this point is rotate the drum freely, which I can. And I'm going to rotate it righty-tighty all the way until it bottoms out at the end. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate it back, let's say about 5 turns. Okay, release my side adjustment tool, and now I'm back to the clicks of stopping at each one of those 4 positions. and I would need to now go back to the range and zero my weapon again for elevation. It shouldn't have much of a windage adjustment because I didn't make any adjustments to windage. It should just be either shooting high or low. And again, I'll cover that with a different video. So that's how you do it. All it really takes is having the rear diopter drum you need, a couple of necessary tools, and some patience in order to get the job done. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I'm humbled to be able to provide this knowledge and experience with all of you. And if you're looking for H&K service and support or unique training, give me a shout. That's what I'm here for. Thanks guys.